Imagine you've finally reached your breaking point. Your ex is 3 months behind on child support, and you've decided that until they pay up, they don't get to see the kids. You think you're being fair. After all, if they aren't contributing to the child's life, why should they enjoy the rewards of parenting? But in the eyes of a family court judge, you've just committed one of the fastest legal suicides possible in a custody battle. Most Americans walk into a courtroom fueled by myths they've heard from friends or seen on TV, but those myths are often the very things that cause them to lose their children. In the next few minutes, we're going to break down the 3 most dangerous child custody myths that could cost you everything, starting with the one that trips up even the most well-meaning parents. The first and perhaps most common myth is the pay-to-play rule. The idea that child support and visitation are a package deal. It feels logical. No money, no kids. However, in almost every state, child support is legally independent of visitation rights. When you withhold a child because of missed payments, you aren't just getting even with your ex. You are actively violating a court order and interfering with the child's relationship with their other parent. Judges view this as a major red flag because it shows you are willing to use your child as a bargaining chip rather than prioritizing their emotional well-being. In fact, if you consistently block visitation over money, a judge might decide that the other parent, the one who isn't blocking access, is actually the more stable choice for primary custody. This leads us to a surprising legal reality. The court's best interests of the child standard isn't about being fair to the parents, it's about what is best for the kid. One of the key factors judges weigh is which parent is more likely to support the child's relationship with the other parent. If you are the parent trying to cut the other one out, even for a good reason like late child support, the judge may label you as uncooperative or even an alienator, which can result in your own parenting time being slashed. The second myth is one that many parents rely on as their get-out-of-jail-free card. The belief that once a child reaches a certain age, usually 12 or 14, they get to choose which parent they live with. You might think, my teenager hates their dad's house, so the judge will just let them stay with me. This is almost never true. While some states, like Georgia and West Virginia, have laws that give children 14 and older more say, it is still just one factor among many. Legislators and judges realized long ago that forcing a child to pick a side is psychologically damaging because it essentially requires them to reject one of their parents. Instead of letting the child pick, courts use a developmental approach. For example, for children under 2, judges prioritize frequent, short visits to maintain the bond with both parents. For teenagers, judges might listen to their input, but if the preferred parent is the one who lets them skip school or has no rules, the judge will see right through that. A child's preference is a piece of the puzzle, but it's not the whole picture, and assuming your child's testimony will win the case for you often backfires. The third myth is the maternal advantage, the idea that the law naturally favors mothers. Decades ago, something called the tender years doctrine did exactly that. But today, that doctrine is dead. Modern courts operate on the presumption that children benefit from having meaningful relationships with both parents. Mothers can lose custody just as easily as fathers for things like substance abuse, neglect, or parental alienation, which is speaking negatively about the other parent in front of the kids. In fact, there is a double bind for mothers who make claims of abuse. If those claims can't be proven with hard evidence, the mother might be accused of alienation, leading the court to actually move the child into the home of the alleged abuser. This is why documentation is your best friend in a custody battle. Your word alone is rarely enough. You need a custody documentation binder filled with school records, medical reports, and logs of every interaction. If you're just winging it because you think the mom advantage will carry you through, you're setting yourself up for a devastating loss. A huge mistake parents make is being too casual about their parenting plan. You might have a friendly relationship with your ex right now and think, "We don't need a formal schedule, we'll just figure it out." But when that relationship sours, and it often does, that lack of structure becomes a weapon. Courts prefer comprehensive, written plans that cover everything from soccer practice pickups to who gets the kids on even-numbered years for Thanksgiving. Another hidden trap is your social media presence. You might think a photo of you at a bar is just having a life. But if it was posted on a night you were supposed to have the kids, it's evidence that you chose partying over parenting. Judges look for consistency and reliability. They want to see the parent who identifies the child's needs, prioritizes those needs over their own feelings, and takes action to meet them every single day. If you want to win, you have to take the high road, even when it feels impossible. This means not pushing the other parent's buttons, keeping all communication brief and emotionless, and even helping your child buy a birthday card for your ex. It sounds counterintuitive to be nice to someone you're fighting in court, but demonstrating that you can co-parent effectively is often the single most important factor in a judge's decision. To summarize, don't link child support to visitation. Don't assume your child gets the final vote, and never rely on gender stereotypes to win your case. Focus on the best interests standard. Keep your emotions in check, and document every single thing. Thanks for watching the legal lecture. If you found this helpful, subscribe for a new video and leave any questions in the comments. See you next time.